Now, this is an exciting project for accountants, the setup of QuickBooks Online. So, what is it? QuickBooks is one of the most used accounting information systems among small businesses in the US by market share. QuickBooks Online leverages the cloud to empower small businesses to operate anywhere, anytime. So nowadays, you're able to bring all of the familiar functionalities of QuickBooks into a cloud based application that you are able to access from a mobile device to a computer at home, a computer at work, and you never leave the site of your business behind. So, why is this exciting? Well, let me show you a little bit of what QuickBooks can do by following their own video.
No matter your business, financial peace of mind means everything. Having the freedom to focus on the day-to-day while knowing you're set up down the road. QuickBooks gives you the tools to make it happen. It starts with the dashboard. Everything's there, all your linked bank and credit card accounts. This gives you insight into how your business is doing at a glance. Ready to send some invoices? Great, but don't send any generic invoice. Customize for a lasting impression. All while giving your customers an instant way to pay. Even on the go, track expenses like mileage or snap and store a receipt. Got it. So long, shoebox. It doesn't stop at tracking your income and expenses. QuickBooks even sorts them so you don't miss deductions. And the receipt you snapped? Matched automatically. Tax time just went paperless. With customizable tags, label and track transactions however you want. Tag what's important, like seasonal promotions and marketing channels. That way you get insights tailored to your business. Looks like the spring promotion was a success. Nice. QuickBooks keeps you a step ahead and allows you to focus on what matters most, the chance to grow your passion from the ground up.
And they were not kidding about that shoebox for sure. So many businesses actually use their shoebox to keep track of their actual expenses. So let me make sure I bring this back up so I can continue with my presentation. So what are some of the actual features of QuickBooks Online? Well, it allows you to do invoicing, as you saw, where individuals can or clients can pay via credit cards, just like you would know. You're all are used to this type of transactions, right? You no longer, or you should never have to go back to a place and just pay with a check or cash or a credit card that has to use a terminal. If you want to succeed in this century, then you must have the ability to do this on the cloud. You also can keep track of your expenses, and when it's time for taxes, then you have everything organized for your tax returns. If you have employees, you can manage all of your employees with all the services that QuickBooks actually provides for you. Again, you make it convenient for clients to make payments to you. You can connect to your bank so that you can always know where your money is going, where it's coming from, your balances. So you don't have to rely on an accountant to be able to understand your cash flows as a business. And again, you can track check numbers, deposits, etc., etc. So how does that relate to you as accountants that want to do a micro internship to assist the small business do this? So you got to understand that a lot of these businesses are in the business of whatever their specialty is, whether it's tacos to, selling any type of service, and they may not really have anything in a organized system. And a lot of times they feel like the actual expense of paying $70 a month or something to that effect is a little bit too prohibitive for them to organize themselves. But when it comes time to taxes or any other type of reporting, asking for a loan or anything like that, then guess what? They won't have the organized information to help outside stakeholders be able to take a look at their business. And that is always more expensive than having the software ready. So it is critically important that we empower our small business owners or their staff to be able to keep track of their expenses day in, day out. And as interns of this experience, you would be able to make that happen for them. And the steps are relatively simple. How do you start? Well, you want to make sure that you collect all the business documentation that details their formation papers, right? So you have their formation information. Are they a LLC? Are they just practicing with a fictitious business license? Meaning, do they just have a business name and they're practicing as solo practitioners? What are their licenses, their identifications? What are their tax IDs for payroll, etc.? Then you want to make sure you understand the operations, right? By focusing on mapping all the business processes when you go in. How do they do business? What does the revenue cycle look like? What does the procurement cycle look like? Do they have to approve stuff before they get purchases? Or does somebody just go and buys everything with a credit card? I mean, these are all critical components of how you would set up the QuickBooks to take in the most efficient way all of these documents and transactions. And based on that, you would recommend the best QuickBooks Online solution based on their needs. You don't want to oversell them or give them bells and whistles that are not going to be used at all, and they would only make their cash flow more expensive. You know, the actual license can be more expensive with all the additional features. So you want to make it as simple as possible and make it easy for them. Once you know all this and you have the right solution, then you start by setting up an account. And the very first thing you do after making sure that you set up what type of transactions they're going to use, the type of business they are, and you document all that in the setup wizard, then you set up the entities. And these are all the vendors, the typical vendors, the customers, the products, the services, and all the taxing agencies that they're going to be interacting with. Once that is done, then you're almost ready to go. You then have to connect the financial accounts. You know, this is so much easier when you have a daily, up-to-the-minute update of all the transactions that are occurring in your credit cards on their accounts. So you want to connect those financial accounts directly to them so that they can just simply categorize and match the transactions to what they've already typed in the system when they reconcile their accounts. Once you do that, then you want to set up the chart of accounts completely, right? And this has to be very specifically tailored towards the business. You don't want to have a chart of accounts that has 100,000 accounts, which, by the way, you are limited to the amount of them to almost 250 only, so that you are just being, simple. You're giving them enough information so that you don't say everything is an expense, but you give them sufficient knowledge in categories that are going to give them the ability to have more insight into their business. So not too little, not too many, or not too few, not too many is the right balance. Then you start by reconciling the business balance sheet to match the prior year's balance. So you bring all the year balances from the year before for all the balance sheet accounts. Then you also want to zero your income accounts in that business so that you can start fresh from the beginning of the year. And then you can record revenue cycle transactions and procurement cycle transactions up to today's date. And you can do that by, really just bringing everything into one simple journal entry, or you can actually go in there and document all of the transactions for the year, which is what I would recommend the most. Again, revenue and expenses, payroll, all would have to be run as if this was done from the beginning of the year. And that's basically it, guys. This is a QuickBooks Online project. It is really rewarding to see a business succeed and give them the power to be able to run this on their own in the future. Obviously, there's ways that you can reconcile their accounts and see if their bookkeeping is done correctly month to month, but that would be beyond the scope of this micro-internship. But, that could be another micro-internship in the future, or perhaps your future clients as you go to school. I'll be happy to guide you through this project if you decide to do something like this.